I've got about 1,000 miles on the odometer with my new Wrangler, and so we're going to talk about what it's been like to live with so far, and if I've had any issues. Spoiler alert, I haven't had a single problem, which makes this more reliable than Land Rover, at least. But let's get right into the video. I bought this Rubicon 392 about 2 months ago, brand new. It took a while to get the accessories all put on, that's why I don't have that many miles on it yet. But as you can see, I'm almost at 1,984 miles. And like I said, I haven't had any real issues. There is one minor thing that we'll go over right now. The minor issue is the handle. Basically, sometimes when I press the keyless entry, and it worked this time, of course, it doesn't pick it up. But as you can see, it works perfectly. And I will say, Jeep letting you lock the car while it's on, because that's associated with the remote start function, is so nice. It might seem silly to you guys, but there's a lot of times where I am in a dealership's parking lot and I figure it's gonna be better to walk rather than to drive the vehicle through the lot. So what I do is I just basically park my vehicle quickly, but I don't want to turn it off because I'm going to be back in the car in like 2 seconds. And so being able to just go and lock it and then walk away and then walk back is really nice. Same thing with like the grocery store. If you just have to go and get one item, you're going to take like maybe 2 minutes. It's nice to be able to just leave your car running, because most of the wear and tear with the car happens during the startup process. And it's not that big of a deal that other automakers don't allow you to lock the car while it's on, but I will say Utah's becoming less and less safe as time goes on, especially Salt Lake County. And so it's nice to be able to do that. So now that reliability is out of the way, I want to give you guys some updates in terms of the ownership experience so far, because I've actually been very impressed. Now, I haven't had a chance to use the lights or the winch off-road quite yet, but I will say I tested them out, and man, are these lights extremely bright. Including the dust light at the bottom, I wasn't so sure like if it would actually be that usable, but I used it last night, again, not off-road, just to like test it out, and I was like, man, this thing would work so well with nighttime off-roading. Now, I haven't done a whole lot of nighttime off-roading quite yet, but now that I have tons of lighting power, I'm probably going to be more open to it because I can actually see what's happening on the trails. The next item is the BFG KO3s. A lot of people have been asking me about these tires. Obviously, I'll let you guys know the long-term durability, but I'll say when it comes to on-road and off-road performance, it has been very impressive so far. The new KO3s are a bit more aggressive compared to the KO2s, but you don't really lose ride quality. They're still extremely comfortable, and they're very, very grippy. They're actually a little bit too grippy. I currently have them set at 50 PSI. I'm probably gonna bump them up to about 55 PSI. These things really do stick to the road a ton. Like, you can hear the Jeep kind of skirting a little bit because the tire's just grabbing onto the pavement so well, which again is great for off-road and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it just means higher PSI for the tires, so you can kind of get them kind of more like a hockey puck in a way, right? Standing up a little bit taller. And a lot of people have told me that, oh, it's gonna be dangerous having it at such high PSI. If you read the tire, it says max load of 1,800 kilograms at 80 PSI cold. And so this being not that heavy of a vehicle, again, this is 5,500 pounds roughly, and being at 50 to 55 PSI, yeah, it's not going to be pushing the tire to the limit at all. Now, you might be wondering, fuel economy with the 37s and at 50 PSI, it ranges between 15 to about 17 miles per gallon, depending on where I drive and how fast and all of that, which having a V8 and 37s, that is not bad at all. The 8100 series shocks, the springs that this comes with, the lift correction bracket and the steering stabilizers and all of that, I can confidently say is my favorite part about this whole Wrangler build. This thing drives like a Raptor. Whenever I'm driving this, I don't feel like I'm driving a Jeep. I literally feel like I'm driving a Raptor. But then I have the narrowness of a Wrangler, which is great to be able to fit down trails, and then just, you know, for comforts, on-road fitting in parking spaces and all that. But it's crazy because this thing also has a V8. Now, I don't want to get myself in too much trouble here. This is just to explain how good this suspension system is. I went to an undisclosed location with windy canyon roads, and I was able to go around some of the curves at over 80 miles an hour. I was doing this just to kind of see what the suspension would do, and it just absolutely blew my mind. This thing corners very flat, especially considering it's on 37s, it's lifted, and it's a Wrangler. It has solid axles front and rear. And not only that, the steering, right, when you turn the Jeep, it actually turns, and so I had perfect control of the Wrangler. You take a stock Wrangler down those same roads that I went down, and you try to go around those corners at even 70 miles an hour, and you're gonna feel like you're tipping the vehicle over, and if you took it at over 80 miles an hour, you probably would tip the vehicle. So when it comes to on-road handling, this new suspension system is an absolute game changer for the Wrangler. I think it's extremely underrated, and I'm guessing after my continued series on this, especially if we find out that the suspension system's reliable, there's going to be a lot of people that have this in their Jeeps. And that's not even to mention the comfort, because this has full travel now and actually good shock compression. It is like driving a luxury car. You go over bumps, and what the Jeep basically does, and I've shown this in videos, or I've tried to show some videos, is instead of just going like kind of like a hard hit and then going all over the place, the Wrangler basically kind of flows into the bump. It goes up and then comes down. Again, it's very Raptor-like with the driving experience. It feels like you're driving on pillows. And again, I'm at over 50 PSI most of the time because the temperature gets high enough in the tires that it goes to like 51, 52. And so it is not the tires that are providing the cushion. It is 100% the suspension. And finally on the suspension, I am going to take this through a Raptor trail to prove everyone that you can do high-speed off-roading in a Wrangler, like actual high-speed off-roading with the proper setup. Stay tuned for that. The new Wrangler comes with thicker glass. Sorry, the viewpoint here, but it comes with thicker glass compared to before. It makes a huge difference with daily driving. Now I've got the valves closed. If I open up the valves, obviously you can hear the rumble, but with it closed, I mean, it's very quiet. I have done quite a bit of highway commuting with this, and I would say that it's definitely not luxe by any means. It's still a Wrangler. You're still gonna get some wind noise up top, but this is pretty similar in terms of the overall sound that you hear in the cabin to the Ineos Grenadier, to a 5th gen Toyota 4Runner. And so again, you wouldn't consider those luxury cars, but they're very daily drivable, especially, you know, the 4Runner, everyone considers that a daily driver. So the Wrangler is now finally, I would say, as daily drivable as something like a Toyota 4Runner when it comes to the sound. And the little windshield antenna is something else that's supposed to help out with that. The last thing, and we'll take it out for a quick drive. These seats, although power adjustable, are not as comfortable as the old seats. My first Wrangler had the leather seats, and those were definitely more comfortable than these new synthetic seats. These are just stiffer overall. Now, it's not a problem for me, but some people it might be. And so if it is a problem for you, consider looking at the 23 or older Wranglers that still have the real leather seats. They're just a little bit squishier overall. I suppose after taking around the block, we'll be one step closer to officially being at 1,000 miles. Now, I typically drive this on the highway with the valves closed. Around town, I'll do the valves open, and then I actually have the stability control off. So I don't have it fully off, just one press of the traction control button. I found that that's a nice balance between, you know, not having to put it in, because you can't fully turn it off unless you're in Off-Road Plus, from what I found, because you hold down the button in street mode and it doesn't really do anything. In Off-Road Plus, it lets you fully turn off the ESC, but I don't want to drive around in Off-Road Plus. Like, that doesn't make any sense. So it's like a nice balance where it lets you kind of have less power cut when you go full throttle. But again, you're still going to get some tire noise, right? It's still all-terrain tires, the 37s, but it's just really not bad. Like, my first Wrangler, I did not enjoy daily driving it. I only put about 13,000 miles on it in 2.5 years. That's not a lot of miles, especially for me. I drive 40,000 a year. So it tells you how little I was driving that thing. Whereas this, again, the first month of ownership, I wasn't actually driving it because I was waiting for the parts and everything to get put on. So I've really only been driving this for maybe like a week, maybe just a couple weeks, roughly, at this point, because I also have press cars that I've been testing out that I have to drive too, and I just want to keep driving it. Like, I actually am in the situation for the first time of being a Wrangler owner where I go and I drive a press car or something else, right, and then I'm like, I can't wait to get back in my Jeep. Whereas the last one, it was like, this is a fun experience, but like, I need a break from this for a couple weeks because it's loud and it's uncomfortable with the suspension and all that stuff. But this drives so well that, and again, like I said, it turns when you go around corners. That's like one of the biggest things for me, is the fact that I can actually go around a corner in a Wrangler. It's so impressive. But yeah, it's enjoyable to drive now. I look forward to driving it, and I look forward to putting more and more miles on it, and I really look forward to taking this off-road. The first Wrangler, I really enjoyed technical stuff with it, but just general off-roading, hated it. It was so uncomfortable. The suspension is the stock Wrangler suspension is just garbage. Jeep should be ashamed of themselves. They make a great car overall when it comes to capability, but it's just, yeah, it's not good at all. Whereas this is so good for off-road adventures. Again, you air this down to not even that low, like 17 PSI, and with the suspension this has and the control, it's like a luxury experience off-road. The only other vehicle that is as comfortable as this off-road is the new Lexus LX 700h Overtrail, which is a full-blown luxury SUV with hydraulic suspension that's super fancy, super sophisticated, and that is extremely comfortable off-road. But that's it, nothing else. Not the Land Rover Defender, not the Ineos Grenadier, not the Ford Bronco, not even a Raptor. The thing that makes this better than a Raptor is the size. Raptors are really comfortable when you're on a wide open trail, but as soon as the trail gets narrow, because you have no ability to pick lines, you have to drive over everything, and it ends up being uncomfortable. Whereas this, I can avoid stuff because it's a pretty small vehicle, and so then it means it's more comfortable. It's like, oh, huge rock in the trail, let's just drive around that. I don't really feel like driving over it. So that's that. I'm super impressed with this so far. I'll give you guys updates in terms of, you know, what this is like. I probably won't do the next update until 5,000 miles, so I'm not going to be doing every 1,000 miles. That's just a little bit too much. But yeah, I'll give you guys another update at 5,000 miles. That'll be I'll do like a little service and everything at that point, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I know a lot of people are telling me that I'm going to have issues with the four-wheel drive system because it's a clutch-based system, and that I should do this modification, that modification. I don't want to do that because first off, I have warranty, so if something breaks, the warranty will cover it. And second, I want to show what this will actually do with a like stock plus build, because most of the stuff that I changed out on this shouldn't really affect the major systems. Again, shocks, springs, steering stabilizer, lift relocation bracket, bumpers front and rear, bigger tires. Like, this isn't crazy stuff. I didn't tune the engine. I didn't, you know, again, I didn't like change the four-wheel drive system or any of that kind of stuff that could seriously affect things in a big way. So we'll see how it goes, but so far, loving the new 392. And if you can't afford a new one, right, because they're stupid expensive, there's plenty of used ones that, in not even 392s, just V6 Wranglers too. There's plenty of used Wranglers. They depreciate quite a bit nowadays, that have super low miles. And so if you wanted to do a build similar to this, minus the bumpers, because I think the bumpers, I don't think you really need those. The shocks and the springs, that's the real like part of this kit. You could do it for pretty inexpensive if you get a used Wrangler. Like, you get a used 392 for like 60 grand, throw this kit on and be like maybe 70,000, maybe a little bit over 70,000 total. So not bad at all in the grand scheme of things for a Wrangler with crazy capability. Let me know your thoughts.